Hey guys, so we are going to talk about boats. Now don't click off just yet because I got something I want to share with you. But I get a lot of questions about what boat we use, what size our motors is, why'd we pick this boat. So we're going to go through the basically the boat, what features we got on the boat, and just for those guys that are curious about the boat stuff, because I got a lot of questions about people who want to move to Alaska. They're also curious about they want to move down to the southeast as well, and they're curious about what kind of boat we got and all this and that. So just stay tuned. But first, I want to show you something that I got in the mail yesterday, and I am excited. I think you will be too. Well, this is it. Amazon paid me a visit, so it's I don't know, 2.5 feet long. It's 1.5 foot wide and about 4 inches width from Amazon. What do you think it is? I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to wait till next week. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think it is. Because guess what? I've had a lot of people ask me. They were like, you should get this, you should get this, you should get this. Well, I got it. So I think next week we'll do an unboxing and assemble this thing and tell you guys what it is. Comment down below. What do you think it is? All right, let's talk about boats. So what boat did I get? I got an aluminum. The brand name is AlumaWeld. And why did we choose aluminum over fiberglass? Well, let's point some of those things out to you. Number one reason why we chose an aluminum boat is because everything that we own has been loaded and unloaded on this boat. So that's all the wood, all of our household goods, a four-wheeler, I mean everything, lumber. It all gets loaded, and so basically we get this whole thing. You can see is everything has just been worn and drug across the top of this gunnel here, and I just don't think a fiberglass boat would hold up to such abuse. So that's why the number one reason we chose an aluminum boat. Reason number two is we live on an island. We beach our boat every time we load and unload things, and we also beach it to get on and off of the island. So as you can see here, we've got a slight little ding from a rock, and this happens quite a bit. So that's the other reason why we got an aluminum boat and not a fiberglass boat, is due to the rocks. I mean, this ain't Florida, this is Alaska, and the majority of the beaches here are rocky. So if you're thinking about coming to Alaska, I would highly suggest an aluminum boat. And then the con of an aluminum boat is they're loud. They're a lot louder than a fiberglass boat. So just trolling or being anchored and fishing, the water slapping up against the boat is probably twice as loud as I mean, you could probably hardly even hear it in a fiberglass boat, but aluminum boat just kind of amplifies it because there's no insulation or nothing, and it's a little colder because it's just aluminum. That's all you get. So you hear every little slap and every little bump on this aluminum boat. So that's the con to it, but everything else I would say is a plus. This boat is 20 foot long. So from the front of the cab all the way back to the rear where your utility box and your bilge pump and everything is, and your batteries, that is 13 feet. Why is it important to have 13 feet from the front of the cab to the rear of the boat? Is basically I can fit all 2x12 lumber inside the cab here, inside the boat. Now a portion of it, about 6 foot, is going to be sticking out of the rear, but you can always throw a tarp over that. But the big thing is, see this little door right here? In the wintertime, you don't want to have that door open. Obviously it's cold, and if you've got an hour and a half boat ride, then you're going to be freezing. And the other thing is in the wintertime, I live in the inside passages, so it's not the open sea. We've got land all around us, but we still get really rough water. And the other thing is so this water can come over the bow, and you don't want that window open because then you're just taking on extra water, and then you got to turn your bilge pump on, and that's a mess. You don't even want to play with that. So 13 feet from the front to the rear, I can fit 2x12 inside there. Man, that's perfect. So then from the base of that front seat there to the rear here, is 9 feet. Why 9 feet, you say? 9 feet is a perfect length because guess what? I can take these curtains off or throw them to the side and I can fit total 4x8 sheets of plywood inside here. So to me, man, this is the perfect size boat because I can fit plywood in here, I can fit T111 in here, I can fit 2x12s that are 12 foot long in here. This thing is perfect. The only thing I can't fit in here are those 6x6 beams that we've been bringing over building that deck. I'll leave a link right here. And we have to have the window open for that. So dress warm if you're in the wintertime and wait for calm seas. And if you're in the summertime, man, just have it open and you're going to love it. You can see all these little discolored things. I've been working, so excuse my dirty hands. But you can see all this discolored stuff. That is basically where I have gouged the deck. So my advice to anybody who's doing this is get you a piece of plywood, a thin one, lay it down, and that way you won't be gouging up your deck like I did. But I mean, sometimes it's just a lesson learned. I got all the plywood out because I'm cleaning everything up right now, and I had a couple of extra gouges that I just sealed up. I got to sand that stuff down, the fresh looking stuff. Got to sand it down, and then it'll be sealed up because you don't want water to get in and rot the wood underneath your coating up top there. For the back of the boat, I got a master switch so I can turn all the batteries off. And I don't know if you can see in there because I ain't going to take it off. But I got two Marine 12-volt batteries in there. Why two? Well, if you're on a cold day, you can turn that switch to combined batteries and get a little more amperage for your starting power. Because ain't nothing worse being on an island and not being able to get your boat started. So pretty important to keep up on all your maintenance and stuff on these boats if you're living on if you're living out here on an island. That's my new captain's chair. I just got that thing because in the wintertime, man, it is the water is rough, and so basically every little wave you hit, you get a jolt to your spine and your back and neck, and I already got back problems as it is. So this thing has got it's basically just a tractor seat. It's got a dampener, like a spring dampener on it, so you can adjust your the tension on that thing to give you a stiffer or a smoother ride. I'm still on the fence here. I got that swivel bracket on the bottom there, wherever it is, right there. But I don't ever use that swivel bracket, and it's bringing it up about 3.5-4 inches higher than it needs to be. And I might just take that swivel bracket off and mount that thing straight to the base, and that way it'll give it a little more stability. Because right now, when I set down on it, it kind of rocks a little more than I like it to, and it sets a little higher than I'd like it to. Even when I sit down and that thing compresses down a little bit, but I'm still a little higher than I'd like to be. Why do I have two of these guys? Well, this one's a fish finder. This one is a fish finder and a chart plotter. Now this guy here I bought, and it was roughly 500 bucks. I mean, obviously it's I bought it about 3 years ago, so it's not the latest and greatest anymore. But why I have two, and this one came with the boat, why I didn't just take this one out is because at cruising speeds, this Humminbird, it will still give me accurate readings of depth. So if I'm cruising around reefs and stuff, I will still get accurate readings from the depth here. This guy will not show me accurate readings unless I'm at a trolling speed. So if I'm cruising at 15-20 knots, but I'm cruising around reefs or spits, then I really like to know how deep I actually am, and this guy doesn't do it. But what this guy does do is, let me see if I can back this out a little bit. So this guy is a chart plotter, and why this guy is important, because you can navigate, and let's see if I can zoom in here. You can basically, this is like, it's like a map for roads but underwater. So as you can see, we've got a lot of islands and a lot of reefs here, and so like when you come up to these little reefs right here, it gives you the if it'll zoom in. There you go. So basically what this do is it's like a map for underground. It gives you the contour lines, and it gives you the depths of where all these reefs are. So if you want to navigate in between these reefs, and that's what I do. I always come through in the wintertime, come through here. just because I like to stay close to land and not in 300 foot of water. I like to stay in 100 foot, and if anything happens to the boat, I'll just drift to one of these other pieces of land or the islands. So, but basically that's what that does, is it just gives you, and you can chart plots with this, you can chart destinations. So it's a really cool feature to have. And if you're moving to Southeast Alaska, man, there are reefs out the yin yang here, and I highly suggest you get a chart plotter. If not, you're going to have, hold on, I'll show you what you're going to have to. There we go. So if you don't have a chart plotter, then you are going to have charts, and you're going to have to carry these maps around with you and just guess where you are, as opposed to what the on these little contour lines on the chart plotter that I have, the digital one. It shows you exactly where your boat is into proportion of where you want to be. So, but like we're cutting through, and we do go fishing right up in here. If we're cutting through these two islands right here, you're basically going to have to just kind of guess where you are, as opposed to where your boat is. So, $500 versus my life, definitely worth it. So the third thing that we have up here is, you guessed it. So this is just a little 12 volt fan, and basically what we use this for is in the wintertime it gets foggy in here, so we plug that guy up so I can keep my windshield semi fog free, and then we keep a little squeegee so we can just squeeze the moisture off the windows as we're traveling. So on top of the boat, I know y'all have heard this before, but I'm going to say it again. We had this rack built because we had a heavy snow one time without the rack, and it totally just crushed this whole thing down. So we had to get all these little bracings rebuilt, which was $500, and then we had this top part, the aluminum part, built, and that was $1,000. Then I just put some plywood on top of it, and that keeps the heavy snow off the top. Another feature that we use is we have two bow lines, because when we tie up to our haul out or out haul or whatever you want to call it, we use two bow lines just in case one fails. Then you always have a secondary. You know what they say in the prepping community, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So there you go. The other thing that we added to this was a spotlight, just because sometimes we cruise and in the wintertime you only get a certain amount of daylight, and so if you're traveling at night, man, a light really helps out. Alright guys, so I'm frustrated too. Alright, I know we all wanted to see the deck being built, but I didn't want to do a 7 series of the deck getting built, because right now all I have is half. I've got the girder done, I got the post done, I got the ledger done, and I got half of the beams done. I brought over some more material, and I got all these 2x6s in the garage waiting to take over. Here's the problem, right? The problem is we have, on our outhaul, we got 3 anchors, 3. All right, we lost 1 anchor because one of the chains broke. So now we're down to 2. These 2 in a high windstorm got drug over because our boat was pulling it to these other 3. So now basically we only have 3 that are in the sand and 2 that are sitting on top of the sand. And we've got gale force winds out there on the island right now. Doesn't seem like it in town here, but there's 30 to 40 knot winds going on out there. And I don't want those other anchors to pull out and then our boat to drift ashore and just slap against the rocks all night long, and us develop a hole in the boat and then come back the next day and say, oh, where's our boat? Oh, there it is in the bottom of the water. So that would not be cool. And this is, I mean, it's serious, because guess what? Yesterday, a friend of the family called, and he wanted to check to see if we were out on the island, because there's another sister island right next to ours, and basically one of the dude's boats sank. It didn't get free of the outhaul, but what it did do was the water was so rough that it started taking on water and it just sank. So they were doing recovery missions trying to get this boat out of the water while he called. So it's a real deal, and I like I said, I love this boat, man, so I ain't trying to risk it. So we're gonna stay in town for a few days. We're getting the boat cleaned up. I'm going to do some videos on obviously on the boat as you're watching right now. I'm also going to do a video on Mustang suits because a lot of people don't understand what Mustang suits are and and some other safety related stuff. But I got some semi horrible footage that I'm going to show why we wear Mustang suits in the wintertime. And then I'm also going to do a video on some fun facts, what I love about Alaska. So stay tuned. I guarantee you that the deck will be built as soon as we can get back out there and start working again. So I appreciate you guys coming along with us on this journey. Don't give up on us. Dude, I wish I was out there right now, but you know, it's not feasible right now to do it. So I really appreciate y'all's patience. We'll get out there. I'm frustrated. You're frustrated. We're all frustrated. But these next couple videos, don't give up on me. We're going to be back out there in 2 weeks. So I'm going to do 3 weeks of videos that aren't going to have anything to do with island life, but more of Alaska stuff. And then we should have that in 3 weeks. We should have the foundation of the deck built, and then we might do another video on the decking itself, or maybe I'll have it all finished up and we'll just do one whole video on it. Anyways, thank you. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think's in that box, because I guarantee you I like it. When I found out how cheap it was and that I didn't have to buy a new, I can't, that'd be a spoiler. Just let me know what you think it is. All right. And I'll let you guys know, because we'll do it unboxing next week. So I'll let you guys know what it is next week. That way maybe even midweek, because I don't want you guys to be like, oh, what is it? Come on, don't be whatever. So yeah, you'll find out what it is next week at the longest. Okay, cool. Thank you for watching. If you have any more questions about the boat, or why we chose these boats or this type of boat, just let me know. And I'm going to try to hit on some, not everybody likes these kind of videos, but I get a lot of questions about them. So I'm going to start answering some questions. All right, thank you guys. Give a thumbs up if you like it. Let me know what you think's in the box. Talk to you next week.